values of all 6? Oh my gosh, you guys are so, woo. Okay, so this is how you should be doing it. You see 7 pi over 6. You should know that's the pi over 6 family. Yes. And if you don't know what the pi over 6 family, 6 goes into 180 30 times. This is the 30-degree family. Yes? Okay, so what is the value at 30 degrees for sine? That's where your hand comes into play. Put your 30-degree down. Sine is the 1 finger, so that is 1 over 2. Now the problem is we need to figure out which quadrant 7 pi over 6 is. It's in quadrant 3. How do I know it's in quadrant 3? Because it's a little bit past 6 pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 is at the pi, which is between 2 and 3, and it's going a little bit past. So this is in quadrant 3. And is sine negative or positive in quadrant 3? It would be negative. So that means this would end up being negative 1/2. So there's a little bit of multi-steps now to this to figure out all these exact values. So 7 pi over 4, right? The family or the reference angle would be the pi over 4 or the 45. However you want to remember it, it's the middle finger that goes down. Sine, again, would be the 2 fingers. So that would mean this would be equal to root 2 over 2. Now we got to ask ourselves, what quadrant is 7 pi over 4 in? It's not in 2. 8 pi over 4 would be 2 pi. Do you realize that? So this is in the 4th quadrant. So in 4th quadrant, sine negative or positive? Negative. Do you see how I'm getting this? Okay, cos of 30 degrees, which reference angle would that be? That would be the 30-degree angle. So that's your first finger, or your pointer finger down, whatever. So cos would be then 3 fingers, so this would be root 3 over 2. 4th quadrant, right? Everybody understands this 4th quadrant, and that would be positive. So there's my answer. Do you see how to do this? You just keep on plugging away at it. So pi over 3, my reference angle would be pi over 3. If we forget which family pi over 3 is, 3 goes into 180, 60. So this would be the same as a 60-degree one, which is my 4th finger put down. Then flip, right? Tan. So what does that mean? It is root 3. So now we got to figure out, is this positive or negative? 2 pi over 3. 3 pi over 3 would be the 1 pi, so it's in the 2nd quadrant. Do you see that? So is it positive or negative? Negative. Bam! Do you want to try this? Oh no, I can't stop here because this is now reciprocals. Oh my goodness. Okay, so same process. Pi over 3, well that is the family. Now here's what you have to do first. You need to find what the reciprocal is first. So what is the reciprocal? That would be sine. So first find sine of pi over 3. What is sine of pi over 3? That's the 60, yes. What's sine? What's sine of pi over 3? Root 3 over 2. So now, this is what you have to do. And is it positive or negative, by the way? Positive, because it's in the 1st quadrant. So we have to take this trig ratio and reciprocate it to get the answer for this. So if we flip root 3 over 2, what do we get? 2 over root 3. Bam, that's how you do it. Okay, pi over 6 family. What's the reciprocal? It would be cos. So first off, I have to find cos of negative pi over 6. Well, first off, my reference angle would be pi over 6. So that is your 30. Okay? So that means cos would be 3 fingers, yeah? So this would be root 3 over 2. Now, we got to figure out which quadrant is a negative pi over 6 in. You're starting there and you're going down instead of up, right? So that would be in the fourth quadrant. So is it positive or negative for cos in the fourth quadrant? Positive. So then after I do this, I need to go and reciprocate it. And what do I get? 2 over root 3. Oh, what does this mean when I have a p of 17 pi over 6? Yes, it's the point at the angle 17 pi over 6. So the problem is what the heck is 17 pi? What spot is 17 pi over 6? So how many times is 17 pi over 6? Sorry, how many times does 6 go into 17 pi over 6? It goes twice 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6. Does everybody agree? And I can ignore the 2 pi, yes? Because it gets me back to the initial side, and then I'm going to travel. So does everybody see that this would be the same point at 5 pi over 6? Okay, so what's the coordinate of 5 pi over 6? So my reference is pi over 6, which is 30. Put that 30 down. And whatever my fingers are, put it right there. Root 3 over 2, comma 1/2. Now, 5 pi over 6, which is positive and negative in? It's second quadrant. So what's negative? Cosine or the x, yes? Does everybody see? That would be a negative there for negative root 3 over 2. Easy? Okay, let's keep going then. Oh. Okay, cos of 3 pi over 2. I fully advise you, anything that's on the x or the y axis, you shouldn't use your hand. You should just know what those coordinates are. So at 3 pi over 2, that's that coordinate right there, right? So that's 0, comma, negative 1. So what's cos in that spot? 0. Cotangent of 10 pi. 10 pi would be which side? This side. What's the coordinate there? 1, comma, 0. So remember, tan is y divided by x. Cotangent would be x divided by y. So what is that? Undefined. Okay, so here's the thing, people. And I don't know if I made this very clear. Tan is undefined on the y-axis, yes? Guess what? It seems like an inverse but it's not. It happens to be because we're dividing it the other way. Cotangent would be undefined on the x-axis here. And it has to do with we're taking a number and dividing by 0 here, and here we're taking a number and dividing by 0 here, whether it's positive or negative, right? So if you ever get that tan would be 0, when you flip 0, does everybody see the 0 is going to go to the bottom? So even if you didn't know and you got tan of 10 pi to be 0, to flip that, this is 0 over 1. So does everybody see when you flip that you get 1 over 0, which ends up being undefined? Honestly, I never look at cotangent as tan. I look at it more as cos divided by sine. It's way easier to understand that way. Okay, so secant of 7 pi. 7 pi would be where? On the left-hand side. What's the coordinate there? Negative 1, 0. What's the reciprocal of secant? Cos. So first we find cos of 7 pi, and what would that be? Negative 1. So when we flip negative 1, what do we get for secant? The same thing. Look at that. Okay, now we have a crazy angle here, so we need to address the crazy angle first. How many times does 6 go into 15? So negative 2 pi, and what's my remainder? Negative 3 pi over 6. So at first you think this is a reference angle of pi over 6. But what happens here? This is reducing down to minus pi over 2. Do you see that? So if I travel negative 2 pi, I get back to the starting spot. Then I need to travel another negative pi over 2. So where would I land? Right there. Do you see that? What's the coordinate right there? 0, negative 1. We're trying to find tan. Tan is y divided by x. So it's going to be undefined. Again, it was on the y-axis. We knew it was going to be undefined, right? Okay, woo! Let's continue. There's a lot of thinking here going on. Sine of pi over 2. Let's do it. What is it? It's 1 subtract. What's cos of pi? What's cos of pi? Cos is your x value. What's your x value at pi? Negative 1. So what do I get when I get this answer? I get 2. All of these you'll get whole number answers, so I want you to do that right now.